friends, my name is Katie. Welcome back to my channel, Life Between Words. I have a monthly recommendations video today. I don't think I've done one of these since the very beginning of my channel. It's been a really long time. Before I start, I should mention the creators of the monthly recommendations, which are Kayla Rain and Trina from Between Chapters. This month's theme for monthly recommendations is big books. I love big books. Who doesn't want to get lost in a story for page after page after page? If I really love a book, then I don't want it to end. I want to follow these characters forever because I feel like they're my friends. And I think a lot of readers, even if they're intimidated by big books, feel that same way. If you're invested in a story, if you really love it, you just don't want it to end. I chose all books over 500 pages. That was kind of my criteria. So let's talk about some big books that are really great. Why don't we just start out talking about the queen herself, and that is Jane Austen's Emma. Emma is by many people considered Jane Austen's most perfect novel and potentially her best. I'm not sure personally whether it's my favorite Jane Austen novel, but I can't deny that it is extremely well crafted, and I also can't deny that I still really love it because I love all of Jane Austen's books. This one, of course, is about our heroine, Emma Woodhouse, who is a matchmaker, but not really a very good matchmaker, and she herself is a little bit unlikable. She's pretty self-absorbed and not always the most wise, and yet she still learns a lot throughout this book that tests some of those notions that she has that make her kind of unlikable, so that by the end, maybe she's a little more likable than she was at the beginning. I love Emma, I highly recommend it, and it is a big book. Now, I'm not sure all editions are this big. This one is 574 pages. Let's check the page length of another edition just to see how it compares. This is my Everyman's Library edition of Emma. These are just really nice, really high quality hardbacks. This one is 495 pages. It fits my criteria of a big book. Next is a book I read last summer. That's James Herriot's All Creatures Great and Small. It's charming, it's laugh out loud funny, it's warm-hearted, and it has a very quirky cast of characters that are in many respects larger than life. You can't help but fall in love with this book and all of the stories and anecdotes and people that James Herriot talks about. This book and this series, which I haven't continued on but do plan to, follows James Herriot's early life, starting out as a country veterinarian in Yorkshire in like the 1930s maybe? 1930s, I was right. And yeah, it's just about all of his hijinks. Like I said, it's warm, it's funny, it's quirky, it's very readable, and this made it, I'm pretty sure, into my top books of 2016. I absolutely loved this book. The next is a book that I've talked about at least once on my channel before, and that is Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. This won the Pulitzer Prize. It's enormous. It's a Western, and I'm not much for Westerns, although maybe I shouldn't say that because I haven't actually read any Westerns other than Lonesome Dove. But Lonesome Dove is fabulous. It's so good. It's an epic tale of friendship about these two cowboys who are making a long journey together, and about their companions along the way. All the things that encompass a tale about the Old West you find in this book, but it's so fabulously done. The characters are so rich, and the story is so compelling. I ate this book up. This is a book I'd love to reread, actually. I do highly recommend this. This is a big book to sink your teeth into, to get lost in. Like I said, it's an epic adventure, so highly recommend Lonesome Dove. I just finished this book, Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb. I would recommend starting with the Farseer trilogy, which I read last year and loved, but Ship of Magic blew the Farseer trilogy out of the water. It was amazing. Every second of it, I loved it. It was so long, but it didn't feel long because every character you follow, you're so invested in their story and what is going to happen to them. One of the things that Robin Hobb does so well is write really compelling characters and a compelling story. At least this story was super compelling. I loved it, and I highly recommend it as a big book to try. Finally, one of my all-time favorites, and I'm sure I've mentioned on my channel at least once, I don't actually remember, but if I haven't ever mentioned it, or if you haven't ever heard me talk about it, shame on me. Like I said, it's one of my favorites, and that's Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. The synopsis of this book is not that compelling, but let me tell you, once you start reading this book, you can't stop reading it. I think I read it in about 2 days. That would never happen now because my life is just too busy and I have kids. I have way too much going on. However, I read this in grad school, and instead of working on my thesis, which was due very shortly after I started reading this book, I read this book instead of doing my thesis. If that doesn't tell you how compelling this book is, I don't know what will, because I had a fire under my butt to get my thesis done, and yet all I wanted to do was read The Pillars of the Earth. Once again, it's another epic story. I feel like if a book is going to be over 500 pages, it has to be epic in nature, and this book is epic. It is an epic historical fiction novel about the building of a cathedral in the 12th century. It takes place in either the 11th century or the 12th century, and it follows this building of a cathedral over many, many years. You follow many different characters, and it's these characters that make this book. You all know I have to fall in love with the characters in a story, in whatever that means. I have to at least be invested in their lives if I don't love them. I have to care about them. I have to care what happens to them. If I don't care about the characters, whether that's like or dislike, I need to care in one way or the other about them. And I care about these characters. This book is fabulous. It's a page turner. It's exciting. It had me on the edge of my seat. Who knew that a novel about the building of a cathedral could be a page turner? But it is. Let me tell you, it is. 973 pages long, very close to 1,000 pages, but it doesn't feel like it. On the back, one of the blurbs even says, a towering tale, a ripping read, there's murder, arson, treachery, torture, love, and lust. And yeah, it encompasses pretty much everything in this book. I love it. I love it so much. Those were all some of my very, very favorite books. There are other books that I love that are really big, long books. I couldn't include them all, so I just gave you a shorter list. They're all books over 500 pages that don't feel like they're over 500 pages because they're just that good. I hope that you found a book in this list that you are compelled enough to pick up and read. And if not, that's okay too. I mean, I guess big books aren't everyone's cup of tea, but I'm pretty sure it was C.S. Lewis who said something like, you can't find a book long enough or a cup of tea big enough to suit me, and isn't that the truth? At least for me. I hope you guys had a great Easter weekend if you celebrate Easter. If you didn't, I hope you're just enjoying this beautiful weather. If it's not beautiful where you are, I hope that you just had a great weekend in general. Anyway, I will talk to you all later. I myself am doing great. I love the changes of the seasons, and it's really beautiful here. The daffodils are blooming, the tulips are blooming, the trees are budding. What more could a girl ask for? Not a whole lot. So anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. How many times can I say that? I'll talk to you all later. Bye! Oh, some house cleaning business. I just wanted to say I'm sorry I didn't put up a video last week. I usually try and put up a video once a week, and I really wanted to get my Q&A video last week. The problem is I got so many questions, which I'm so thankful for. I filmed it and my footage was over an hour long, and nobody wants to listen to me prattle on, because even if I edited that down, it still would have been a really, really long video. I would have split it up, except it didn't really make a lot of sense for me to split it up because there wouldn't have been an introduction or an ending. Like, it just would have been very abrupt. So I just decided I'm going to have to refilm it. I don't have time today because today is Easter Sunday. I really thought I'd get that Q&A done before now, and it just didn't happen. So it is coming. I haven't forgotten, and I haven't forgotten about my YouTube channel, but life.